Now let's begin the conversation. It is said that all it takes for evil to triumph in any society is for men of goodwill to be silent or idle when things go awry. As another military coup fear gripped the Sahel with an attempted putsch in Benin Republic, Nigeria rose to the occasion to protect democracy in its West African neighbor. Nigeria deployed military assets to Benin Republic after receiving two formal requests for help from President Patrice Talon's government. As such, the Senate has approved the request of President Bola Tinubu for the deployment of Nigerian troops to Benin Republic for regional peace stabilization mission. The approval followed the reading of a formal letter from President Bola Tinubu seeking the consent of the Senate to authorize the military deployment to prevent an unconstitutional seizure of power and the destabilization of the democratic institutions in the country. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force says the landing of its C-130 aircraft in Burkina Faso was precautionary and followed due process. This followed reports that the Burkina Faso authorities had detained 11 crew members for airspace violation. In a statement, the Director of Public Relations and Information at the Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Air Commodore Ehime Ejodame, the aircraft landed in the West African country due to a technical concern, and the crew received cordial treatment from the host authorities. All right, gentlemen, two stories in one. Dotson, I'm going to be starting with you, okay? So good to see you again. But
Thank you
looking
so much.
at this, the speedy approval process, do you think the speedy approval process by the Senate, meets the constitutional expectation of legislative oversight of the 1999 Constitution?
I think sometimes we pay too much attention to legalese in this country. Now, there's a problem that needed to be attended to. The first step is to ensure that you nip that problem in the bud. Don't let it escalate. Because the way we are going about it in West Africa, if we are not careful, we are going to be surrounded by countries under military rule. It's their choice, it's their decision. But there is something about what my neighbor is doing and how the people in my own house will perceive it. We've had democratic rule for so many years now, since 1999. No military intervention. We can see around us now, countries are getting away with upturning democratic rule. They will give you a time frame within which to return to democratic rule. After a while, the man in charge can turn himself into a civilian dictator by going for an election and becoming the president. Benin Republic is an example. Now, so why are we going to allow that when within ECOWAS we have an agreement that these things shouldn't be so? Because when we go to that second story, we are still going to come back to this. There is a link somewhere. There is an incident. What do we first do? You stop the injury from bleeding so that it doesn't result in death after losing so much blood. That was the first step. And then you are hearing all of these democratic things. So the president will now wait until today before deployment. There are certain powers I think the president should have. And once the military feels it is good enough, then you go back to the Senate and say, see, I need to do this. We have already taken these steps. Because for me, if the president had stayed to say, okay, this man has sent me
This
save our soul.
urgent need for intervention to save their soul. And then he now waits, maybe it happens on a Friday when the Senate has gone on break till Monday, Tuesday, because usually Senate sits from Tuesday to Thursday.
Yeah.
That's what we have seen. The other 2 days they use for their oversight functions.
Okay.
How do you wait that long? The first thing is to take that step.
I think the Constitution says, 14 days.
It even,
You know,
I'm even saying,
able
let
to-
us even leave the 14 days aside. Let us even assume that it's at a time the Senate has even gone on recess. The first thing we must do is to stop the bleeding.
Stop the bleeding first, then
And
get
then we can
approved.
go back to the legalese and say, okay, this is why, how did this happen? Can we do this? Can we do that?
Because there were comments about, did the House, the Senate give
Yes,
approval,
I had that
you know,
too.
before,
You know,
talk
before
about
the thing
Section
was
5,
done.
Section 5 and Section 3
Before the thing was done.
But looking
It's
at
important.
Nigeria showing up as a big brother, you know, in the West African sub-region, how significant is this, you know, to maintain regional stability?
Now, Nigeria has always been a big brother, either in the West African sub-region or even in the African continent. This is not the first time we are doing it. Even under military dictatorship, we did it in Liberia, we did it in Sierra Leone. And the president agreeing that we should deploy troops to Benin Republic is a very commendable effort because, as he has said, the Yoruba have a proverb that if your neighbor is eating something that you know will harm him or her, and you turn a blind eye, in the night, you will also not sleep because by the time he's groaning, you will not be able to sleep. So, what Nigeria has done is very good, very, very commendable. However, we must, at this point, come back to the whole of Africa being Nigeria's centerpiece of our foreign policy.
Okay.
Nigeria invested a lot in Liberia, invested a lot in Sierra Leone, but today, what has Nigeria gotten out of it? In fact, for instance, the issue of those two countries, when you look at the history of those countries now, most times people think it was Britain that stabilized those countries and not
Or
Nigeria.
even America, the
So,
US, because they were the first to
Nigeria
arrive.
needs
They were the first to arrive.
Nigeria needs to put a stamp on this issue. For anybody saying that why did Nigeria go into this and all that, it is not an argument at all. Because as I've said, when your neighbor is in trouble and you think it doesn't concern you, one way or the other, it will boil over and it will concern you. So I think Nigeria has taken a good step. However, we also need to free our military from some things we are subjecting them to do internally. Because at this point now, the military is being overstretched, both at home and abroad. So we need that assurance or that firm thing that, look, in Africa, in the 80s and 90s, when democratic wave began to blow across West Africa, Nigeria showed the leadership. So we should not, because of what we think is our little problems at home. There's no democracy that is perfect. That is for sure. Even America that has practiced democracy for more than 200 years, it is not perfect.
It isn't.
Democracy is not a destination. It is a journey.
But the thing is, the attempted coup, gentlemen, did it come to you? How did you receive the news? Did it come to you as a surprise at all?
Well,
We saw the skits that happened in Guinea-Bissau.
And
What's going on in the
yes, in Africa, there are some countries that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Benin Republic is one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You really need to pay attention to that country because it is critical to Nigeria. I wasn't shocked when I heard that news because bad governance breeds ill feelings among the people. And where you have radicals in the military, the likes of Gideon Oka, they can take any risk when they are angry. That is why you see at home, attention is being paid to our own military. Even the police. You will see of recent there has been this debate about this contributory pension scheme, which is a major ground for agitation within the police. So you must pay attention to these people because they are the ones keeping your country at rest. Otherwise, that can happen anywhere.
But the rising case, the rising case of military intervention, you know, in West Africa, do you fear that military rule is starting to become, you know, fashionable in the region? Sit-tight leaders causing the...
Exactly. You see, I think West African leaders or African leaders themselves must also, whenever they meet, there must be an agreement. They must, among themselves, talk to themselves. Because the issue that is happening, why all these things are happening, is because even those African leaders or West African leaders who are democratically elected,
okay, Double O, just
when
hold
they
that
come
thought.
in,
Just hold that thought. We have caller calling in from Ikoyi. Caller, let's talk. Hello, caller, are you there? Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, good
okay,
evening.
you see,
Journalist hangout.
Okay, caller, let's go.
Thank you for your good program.
Thank you, sir.
Our president will live long. Our president will live long. We thank him for what he has done in Republic of Benin. You can imagine what will have happened to Nigeria, the spillover. That is what he was denied of the Niger issue. We thank him for that. God bless him.
He has done well.
Nigeria will continue to grow.
Amen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, you know, as I was saying, they must also talk to themselves. Because you find out that some of those who are legally, constitutionally elected, come to power, change the constitution, and begin to dance around. The case in point is the case of Cote d'Ivoire. When Alex Ouattara, when he came in, before he came in, we know what happened to Laurent Gbagbo. The man has just been sworn in for the 4th term now. I mean, so they themselves must talk to themselves. The leaders, the West African leaders must talk to themselves. Because as the Tory, the ECOWAS Commission President has said, elections have become a major trigger of instability in the region. Yeah. They must talk to themselves that, look, elections must be free and fair. The case of, where was former president?
Gambia.
No,
where Jonathan went to.
Exactly. I mean, that's another case in point.
We have Nuhu from Abuja.
We need to